Good morning, one and all. If you can hear me, let me know. I want to make sure my sound is on and loud enough. Just say something in the chat board if you're there. Good morning, Donna. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing well in Texas. How's the weather there? Good morning, Marcy. How do I sound? Do I sound okay? Can you hear me? Cold, obviously you can hear me. Cold and sunny. Yeah, it's cold and sunny here too. We're supposed to go up to close to 40 today, but right now as I look outside the window, it's snowing as we speak. Why, thank you, Marcy. You're typing great. Good morning, Elaine. How are you this morning? And Suzanne, you as well? Years of practice. Yeah, I am a terrible typist. I use dictation software because it's much easier. -5 and sunny here in Alberta. Oh, ooh, -5. Ouch. Snowing in Michigan too. Hello, CPO Snarky. Good morning, Lori. How are you this morning? We got just over 2 minutes left before we start this puppy. I have a new intro video I did. I hope you guys like it. It'll come on at the beginning. I've been playing with my cameras. Actually, the intro was actually shot on my new iPhone, so you'll have to let me know what you think of that as well. -5. I remember a time I was flying back from Florida. I was directing the Florida Renaissance Festival. I was flying back, and we were flying into Pittsburgh for Christmas. And as we flew in and we were landing, the captain came on and says, weather in Pittsburgh is snowy and 4 degrees. And then you could hear this groan throughout the plane. And then all of a sudden, the captain comes back on and says, FOUR. And everybody started laughing. Very funny. Minute and a half left. Oh, Robert, in Atlanta. I spent a lot of time in Atlanta. I used to perform at the Georgia Renaissance Festival, both spring and fall. I used to do a show called Hack and Slash. And I definitely loved my time in Atlanta. Beautiful down there. Good snowy morning to you too, Jenny Brown, my neighbor. You see the weather this week, Jenny? It's supposed to be up in the 60s, almost to 70 by a couple days from now. Hello, Claire. How are you? New York City's in the house. 40 seconds left before we start this pup. I enjoy our time together. I really look forward to Live Loving Livestream. Eight, 7, 6, 5, 3 a.m. in Australia. So, I'm sorry, no. Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, good morning, my friends. I am excited that you are here together this morning for another Live Loving live stream. I'm thoroughly enjoying our time together, as I just mentioned in the chat board over here. Well, thank you, Noah, for that intro. I got to play with my new toy, which is kind of a cool thing. It's a motorized trolley for my iPhone. So I gave me a chance. Oh, you like that? Oh, good. Thanks, Marcy. Thanks. I was pretty proud. I'm pretty happy with it. For some reason, my other camera just dipped out on me. I have to see if I can figure out what the heck that's about. You guys still see me there? Okay. Okay, good. So here's oh, look at that. I'm bright red. Hold on, let me fix that. That's crazy talk. I don't like being bright red. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, hey, look at that. Okay, that looks better. Let's see if I messed up the other camera. There I am. Nice. Boy, tech. I got a new intro and bad tech. This is kind of good. So anyway, welcome to the Live Loving live stream. I am highly energized this morning on day 35 of my water fast. Things are going very, very well. A total of 57 pounds down, 48 pounds during the water fast, 57 total. Feel great. You know, people ask me a lot of questions about the water fast. Somebody asked me this morning whether I'm not eating food. I'm like, well, that's what water fasting means. But I wanted to answer some of the questions right on the get-go here, just to get some of the answers put aside. I get people to ask me all the time about the ketones, whether I'm getting what's known as keto breath, which is bad breath. I have not been having that issue, but of course I'm mostly alone in my home, and my son comes occasionally, but he's down in his computer room most of the time. But as far as keto breath, a lot of people get really bad breath during the time, and it's even said that Gandhi back in the day, when he would fast, he would get this horrendous breath, and people couldn't actually even hang out with him because of the ketones in the breath. The other thing is that the next question I get is, are you lethargic? Are you feeling weak? I am so energized. I get up and I walk in the park near my home, and I go to the mall when there's snow on the ground, because the boardwalks there are not even. You can slip and fall. And I have just a ton of energy. Of course, I have the body fat stores to live off of, so to me it's great. But once again, Gandhi, during his fasts, he would walk like crazy. In fact, when he died, they said that he had about between a quarter and a half inch of calluses on the bottom of his feet from all the walking he did while he was fasting. So really interesting. And, people ask me all the time whether I'm getting big spiritual light show experiences because of it. I'm definitely not getting those, and I never have. I've done fasting a lot, and I've never really gotten any big mystical experiences out of it. What I have gotten is a lot of very clear thinking mind. Now that's the product of the ketones themselves. Your brain functions really well on ketones. So when you're burning your fat stores, you're living off of your ketones, and so your mind is really, really clear. A lot of spiritual gurus have mystical experiences, including Gandhi. Gandhi did the same thing. He had big spiritual experiences during fasting. He's the best example of someone who did fasting. But of course, he did not have the body fat stores that I have, and when he would get to the ends of his fast, he would get very weak. He would get extremely weak. He would get extremely, and they would carry him to places and stuff like that. And in fact, when you think about Gandhi, he was really a super calloused, fragile mystic with extra halitosis. And that was a long way to go for that joke, wasn't it? things are good. I have to start these things with a joke of some kind, and that's one of my old favorites that I love to roll out slowly. um, but yeah, all the things I said, with exception of the calluses on his feet, was true. but anyway, um, um, but as far as the as far as the fast, I'm doing great. I have clarity of thought. I have a lot of energy. I am very much looking forward to Saturday, when I'm going to when I'm going to get some actual food, and I am transitioning into a 1 meal a day, like I did on the setup. Um, Jenny, I love that. That you need your coffee to function. That's another thing. Is a fast breaks the caffeine addiction, and so you have more energy. I'm a coffee fiend. I often bow at the altar of Juan Valdez and his burro. But the idea is that without the caffeine, I have more energy than I ever did. And I wake up in the morning clear, not at all needing coffee. Good morning, Sugar's mama. I hope you're doing well. 15 of us watching so far. Things are going great. So hey, that was my obviously my joke of the morning. So I gave you that. I want to talk about some other things. I've had a bunch of people email me about doing another live healing workshop. Let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. I don't want to do it if we don't have a lot of interest in that. But if someone's interested in me doing another, like 2-3 hour live healing workshop where we do volunteers during that, let me know, and I would be glad to jump on and do that. Good morning, Julie Jensen. How are you this morning? We'll set that up again. So as far as today, there's a couple of things I want to talk about, and one of the things is that last week I talked about the Ukraine mothers and how they were helping Russian soldiers find their way. I heard a story yesterday about a businessman here in the States who was looking at all the refugees coming into Poland, and he hopped on a plane and he went over there and he just started looking for people who didn't have a home to go to. And he started getting hotel rooms for them, started finding places, apartments to rent, and he was renting them for him. And he found this one Nigerian family who were in Ukraine, and they had nothing. They were living on the streets, and he went there and he got them an apartment. He paid for the year of the apartment, and then they showed this video of the little girl just giggling and jumping on a bed because she had a bed that she could lay down in. And what a beautiful, loving gesture. If you have the means and you can do something like that, what a loving thing to do. What an absolutely loving thing to do. Step up, help wherever you can. Oftentimes you'll find that sometimes all you can do is give loving intention and send loving intention. But if you have the means to step up and do something bigger and greater, even if it's just sending them $10, finding a charity that's reputable and sending them $10 that's going to get it. But I have no idea which ones are reputable, so you'd really have to do your own research on that. But that idea of intention first, intentionality. I intend to do something loving. I see something wrong in the world, and I intend to do something loving about it. That's a huge, huge gesture. Even the intention itself goes out into the energy of the universe and the God, and that intention being sent. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there so am I. So when all of us get our intention going of creating something greater over there, it all helps. Of course, thought, word, and deed. If you have a deed that you can do, that would help in another way, that's also a wonderful, wonderful thing. One of the things that I wanted to do this morning before we got into the questions is I wanted to kind of do a reset, and and I don't mean a reset like the show or anything like that. What I mean is a reset of we've just had a full week. of whatever your world was doing. And I wanted to do just a short meditation this morning. How do you guys feel about that? Let me know. What I'd like to do is do just a brief, very simple meditation that will kind of realign us with that feeling, that joyful feeling that is the essence of love, is the essence of God. It's the feeling that I tap into morning and evening. And so I think if all of us, with our intention, if we could just literally sit in that loving moment for a moment and give it to ourselves first, because giving it to ourselves, it empowers us to have the energy to spread out love to the world, and I think that that's kind of an important thing. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a little meditation, and just so you know, when I start this meditation, it's going to go to a little video of a seashore. One of the reasons I do that is because I want as little sensory input as possible. I really want you to feel more so than watching my face or anything like that. If you need to have something to look at, there will be a beautiful sunrise over the ocean that you can look at. And it's a video, so it's live. And if you can, close your eyes and really tap in to the feeling. Maureen Hanlon from Scotland, good morning to you. I have Scottish heritage myself. I'm part of the Rose line. So I'm excited. Actually, that's one of the countries that I have not been to yet, and I really have a big intention of getting there someday. So let's, guys. So when I start this, all I want you to do really is just breathe naturally. Don't try to add a modality to it. Just allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to breathe without any counting, without any, this many breaths in, this many breaths out. None of that. I just want you to relax and let your natural self do what your natural self does, breathing wise. So here we go. yourself to relax. Allow yourself to breathe. Feel the tension leaving your body. Feel the release of all attachment to negative experiences, to all responsibility. Give yourself this moment. Give yourself this time. Be that loving expression without modalities. Just release. Release. And every time you release, every time you exhale, realize that at the bottom of that breath is your connection to Source, is your connection to God. Rest. Rest from any burden. Rest from any hindrance. Be free. Free and relax. The more you relax, the more aware you are of the feeling of that relaxation. Feel that time that you are giving yourself to be free. Now in your mind, I want you to picture a time when you were truly happy. Picture a time when you could feel the joy welling up in your body. Experience it again. Experience it now. Feel that joyful, loving expression. That is your baseline. That is God. That joyful, loving feeling is direct communication with Source. It is always with you. You are never alone. You feel it. You relax into it. Sit in love. Rest in love. Experience your connection. It is a communication. That feeling you feel is there to let you know that you are always loved. It's not a matter of finding it. It's a matter of acknowledging it. Recognizing that it's always there. Recognizing that you are one with it. And this moment of remembrance of that moment of joy was your choice to experience it. Feel it again. Feel the joy of it. If it makes you smile, smile. If it makes you cry, enjoy, cry. Whatever you feel, be authentic in your reaction. Whatever you feel, express it fully. And realize when you feel it, it tingles throughout your entire body. It tingles all over. That is sitting in love. That is meditation. That is connection. When you're ready, just go ahead and come back into your body and bring that feeling with you. Bring that joy with you. Bring that love with you. And live love. And love living. When you're ready, just bring yourself back. And we'll go on with the rest of our program. How you guys feel? I hope that was good for you as it was for me. I think I need a cigarette. I never smoked in my life, by the way. I do this every morning. I sit in that expression of love. I sit in that feeling of love when I wake up in the morning. And Jenny Brown, yes, it's better than coffee, even though I still drink coffee. I wanted to give you guys a lot of time in the beginning to get into your own relaxation before I started doing anything. I wanted you to have your own space so that you could find your own way to get comfortable. Every morning I get up, and that's what I do. As I go into my meditation room, which right now, by the way, is filled with cardboard boxes that I've got to get out of there. I haven't done a trash haul for a while. But I get up in the morning, and I go and I sit in my meditation room, and I do exactly that. I sit in love. I sit in remembrances of joyful, loving feelings, and I just feel that feeling. I feel it. And then before I go to bed, I do the same thing. And what it does for me is it just kind of gives my day a beginning and an ending that is in the alignment of love that I want to feel, that I want to experience. And I think it's something that we all can do and express, not only in our meditations, but in our life. You know, I often talk about going to the grocery store and living that feeling as I walk through. But you can do that in any aspect. You can do that in any situation. It's like those Ukrainian mothers that I talked about last week. They saw those Russian soldiers who were hurting because they realized that they were wrong in what they were doing and just wanted to connect with their mother, which is something that made them feel loving and good. So it's really something that is just absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and open this up for any topics you'd like to talk about this morning, any communication, any questions you might have, and let's just dive in and we'll figure out where we go from here. It's been a good week comments wise. I'm still looking for more comments to respond. I realized the channel has broken now over 500 videos on the channel, which is incredible in my mind, considering we just started September 10th. Over 500 videos in that short amount of time. Beautiful, just beautiful. I'm really enjoying doing them. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more and creating a lot more because I just love doing them. I think they're beautiful. Um, okay, thank you, Marcy. Thank you. I feel good about it. I feel good about it. So, what do you guys want to talk about this morning? Just let's get some topics going. Because I'd love to. Was Jesus married? Absolutely, Jesus was married. He called Mariam, called her Ishti. Ishti is an Aramaic for wife. He did it not as a subjugative way, but as a cute, fun way. Yeah, all right, Ishti. He called her Ishti. Um, she was married. The next question I always get after that one is did he have children? He did not have children. And um, why do I know this so clearly? First of all, I never saw children in any of the memories, but more so, I have very distinct memories of his mother and his wife living with me after the crucifixion, and they had no children with them, and she wasn't pregnant at the time. And she lived with me for long enough that I was keeping her away from the big cities to protect them both, because they would have easily been killed for who they were. And so I took them back to my family's home, and eventually, after a long period of time, her family, Mariam's family, came from Magdala and took her back to their family home, because I was leaving to go on the road teaching. So it was one of those situations where they needed to. I couldn't take her with me in that regard. So her family came and got her, and they specifically came and got her so they could protect her on the way home. So, but yeah, he was absolutely married, and the word, like I said, the word Ishti means wife. So, which I think is just beautiful. Which Mary are you talking about, Jenny Brown? And I'm assuming his mother or his wife, probably his wife, because we were just talking about his wife. You know what? Joshua was a firm believer. Joshua was a firm believer that we all have the same abilities, um, and greater works than I've done you will do, and it is your faith that heals you. He absolutely believed that any one of us, including Ishti, including his wife, would have had those same abilities. The thing about Joshua that's so that stands out is the fact that he knew it. He had such a huge faith that he knew his connection to Source. And as far as abilities are concerned, people ask me about healing all the time, and how he healed, and he understood very clearly that healing had to do with faith, and not his faith, and not faith in him. Belief in the healing is what healed. When the woman touched his garment and he said, "It is your faith that heals you," he completely understood that she believed in the healing. Now, he also understood that people will put faith in a lot of different things, and if they put faith that he can heal them, they will be healed, but not by him, by their faith. And so he had a complete understanding of the fact that that when he was working with people for healing facilitation, that his job was to bring them to belief, to bring them to faith, and not, like I said, not faith in him, faith in the healing, because whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. It does not say faith in Jesus or faith in God. It just says belief, faith. And so, I often tell the story of Beth Sean, where we, no healings were happening in the city because they knew Joseph, the carpenter, and they couldn't think of Jeshua as someone who could do a healing because he was the son of the carpenter. But the people who received healings in Beth Shean came out of the city to where we were camped for the healings. And that walk was a leap of faith. It took faith to walk out to the healer. But as far as special abilities, Joshua understood that we all have the same abilities. The law of attraction talks about manifesting things into your life. And I have watched amazing manifestations happen and amazing healings happen. But in the process of doing that, I totally understood that I come with intention, and I come with the idea. And a lot of the work that I do is bringing them to their present moment faith. And what happens is when they get to their present moment faith, they heal, because that's the nature of healing. Healing happens through faith, as does any other manifestation. Healing is just a manifestation. You can manifest anything into your life if you believe it. Jeshua's power of focus must have been tremendous to stay so loving all the time. Any thoughts on how to stay focused on the goodness of who we are? Let me break you of this belief a little bit. I saw him get mad. I saw him get angry. I saw him get frustrated. He was very frustrated that people weren't listening to hearing what he was saying and living what he was saying. I saw him get very, very frustrated. In the Bible, it says, I speak, but you do not hear. That was a frustrating moment for him. He overturned the money changers' tables. That was a frustrating moment for him. He was a man who understood his role, his oneness with God, oneness with divinity, and staying loving all the time. When you're here in this existence, in this world, you are here to experience fear and separation so that you can experience love fully and bring yourself back to it fully, which means just to even be here means you have to get into moments of fear and anxiety. And, Joshua had his fears and anxieties just like every other man. He just understood that when he got to that space, he could step back and go, wait a minute. Fear is just an illusion. Fear is just an emotional reaction to a future event that may or may not happen with me focused on a negative outcome. Fear is just negatively focused on certainty. But it's our nature to occasionally focus negatively. And when we occasionally focus negatively, we experience our separation from Source. But it's a matter of consciously going back to that love of God and into that space and recognize it. So yeah. Now, how to stay focused on the goodness of who we truly are, or who we really are? It's a great question. The reality of it is the only way that you can do something like that or get close to that is to get very present, because your fears are usually based in subconscious belief, the things in the past. So just get very present and realize, how am I feeling? The feelings are telling you what you're experiencing. If you feel negative, if you feel drained, you're in your fear. You're in your separation. That meditation we just did today was talking about feeling that joy. That was the connection. But the interesting thing was, it was your choice to feel that joy. It was your choice to step into that feeling. And that feeling is the communication saying, you're one with me. You're connected to me. This is what it feels like. And so when you find yourself in a negative state, realize that it's just a fear of some kind, just an anxiety based upon some fear of some kind. Now, here's the interesting theory that I have. I believe there's only one fear, and it's the fear of not being loved in some form. And people say to me, well, what's the fear of getting eaten by a tiger? How's that the fear of not being loved? Well, do you think the tiger's loving you when he's eating you alive? Number one. Number two, most people fear death because they're afraid it's not going to be loving on the other side. They're afraid of some sort of hell or some sort of negative experience. The entire to be or not to be speech in Shakespeare is about the fact that people don't take their life because of what may come after death, And so you think about the idea, to be or not to be, that is the question, whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing in them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in this sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the spurns of also, and the insolence of patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin. Anyway, it's the idea of what comes after death is what stops us, because there's a fear of it not being loving when we cross. That uncertainty, negatively focused uncertainty, is all fear is. And if you drop into that fear-based space of negativity, you are feeling the fear. And why do we go to that space? Because we're afraid it's not going to be a joyful, loving experience. That's what fear is, the negative focus. Jane, I completely agree with you. There's no reason to fear death. It is not the end. And I can attest to that because I have crossed over twice, right? I had the experience with Jeshua, and I probably more because when I was a kid, I had out-of-body experiences. My brothers and sisters remember me talking to other people, but I don't remember that. But going out of body, I went over and was told I wasn't supposed to be there yet, and experienced being out of body, separate from my physical form, but still very much alive. And when Jeshua touched me on the heart, I crossed over and I experienced the unconditional love without my fears or anxieties. And I was separate from my body at the time. I was separate from my source at the time. And that in itself was huge. So yeah, there's no reason to fear death because, as Jeshua said, we have eternal life. Our life is ongoing. You know, and in the Bible it says, "He that believes in me will have eternal life." And I think it's a misquote. I think it's, "He that believes me will have eternal life." He that takes this truth will have eternal life. This body is just a vessel. Pretty much. You know, it's like a car. You know, you're riding in your car, you're experiencing your life in your car, and then the car breaks down and you go away, right? You go to the other side. And that's kind of the way I see it as well. I see it as a opportunity. By the way, just so you guys, what do you think of it now that it's coming in? Is it I mean, the points are still kind of in there, but do you like it long, or should I go back to some sort of points? I like the points in a lot of ways, but this is something unique, different. Anyway, I'll tangent there for a second, and let me get a drink of water real quick. I drink water because that's what I'm made of. So, as you know, Jeshua's power. You do you, boo. You do you. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you like it. I think it's going to be good. I think I may grow it. Like, if any of you guys saw the movie Dune, the new movie Dune, I love Oscar Isaac's beard. If I could grow that, I would. What other questions do you have? Just throw them on out there. Thanks, Noah. Anyway, you know, other topics that we can talk about that are interesting. You know, I often talk about on the channel about the comments that I get that are not. You want to talk about your husband? sorry, Jane. I get the comments that are not necessarily Jeshua-like, and I find it interesting that those when you look at the videos that get negative comments or dislikes, they're always the ones that confront organized Christianity. You know, the ones that confront organized Christianity are the ones that get dislikes. And then there's the ones that are like, the other day I did the channeled message about being your authentic self, I guess. Yeah. And someone disliked that too. And I was like, so what's wrong with that? And the only thing I can think is they don't like channeling. But, your husband's beers to his chest. Okay. Julie, this is a great question. Is it possible to focus intensely on someone, Putin, seeing the true nature of love, to see who he really is, to change his mind? It is absolutely possible for you to focus on him and send him love intently. Changing his mind is his choice. Changing his mind is his choice. And I would, if I was going to guess, I would say the people who have the most ability to change his mind are the oligarchs. And I think that's why attacking them and their boats and their money is the smartest thing, because the only person to blame and the only person that is getting blame is Putin. And so in the end, they're going to go, hey, you're messing with our money, because they are, the love of money is the root of many evils. Well, you take the money away when the evils are being done, the people who love the money will definitely overthrow somebody who's messing with their money. So I think it's actually I think the changing his mind will be about the oligarchs doing that, because he has free will and choice as well. Do I experience self-doubt, and how do you best deal with it? What a great question. Everybody experiences self-doubt in some form. When I was very much younger, had a lot of self-doubt. I had a lot of self-doubt, self-worth issues. I had a lot of those issues. As time goes on, and the more I sit in love in the morning and the evening, and the more I give myself that expression, the more I walk through the world smiling and realizing that my authentic self is okay. I have less doubt. I have much less doubt. I am much more comfortable in my skin now than at many times in my life. As I grow deeper in my own personal faith, belief, and when I say faith, I'm not meaning like external God faith. I'm talking about my authentic self, one with God faith. I find that there is no reason to doubt, because I am stepping into that role that Jeshua, I point at my painting over there, that Jeshua asked us all to step into. He said, you're the children of God, and the Father and I are one, and I am the Son of God. It's the same thing. It's a matter of stepping into that. It's a matter of stepping into that space of realizing that you are one with God. The more you are one with God, how could you doubt? How could you drop into self-doubt or self-worth if you are one with God? Because it's much harder. Do we naturally fall into it sometimes? Absolutely, because you're here. You're here in this experience, and our experience here is to feel separate. And you know what self-doubt and self-worth issues are? The fear of not being loved. It's the fear of I doubt myself because I'm going to fail, and if I fail, they're not going to love me. I doubt my worth because I've been told that I'm not worthy, which means someone did not love me, and I really want their love. So now the only way I can really prove to them that they're right is to be not worthy. And so it really comes down to seeing that space of being one with God, and no matter what anybody thinks of who you are. And you can have a narcissist in your life who will absolutely tell you who you are, but only you can define yourself, and you need to step into that space. Okay. Unworthiness is sometimes strong with this one. Sorry. The force is strong with you. The force is strong with you, young Padawan. Step into the idea of you have the initial power. You are the wand with which God's magic is performed. So step into the role of Harry Potter and use your wand wisely. Jane, that makes perfect sense to me. He's equal. I'm scared of persecution. Well, Lucy, I'm is a contraction. It's a contraction for I am. I am is God's name. Whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. I'm scared of persecution. You're focusing on persecution. Focus on a joyful, loving world instead, and experience that instead. Oh, Noah, thank you. Christianity is one thing. Jeshua's teachings are another thing. And that's, to me, the important part, is that Christianity was very much about power. And you have to remember that Yeshua wasn't a Christian. And I love what Gandhi says, I love your Jesus, I don't like your Christians. Because the most hateful people that I've run into in my spiritual journey have been the Christians. Hasn't been the Muslims, hasn't been the Buddhists or the Hindus or the New Agers. It's been the Christians. They're the ones who are most vehement, the most vicious. And actually, interestingly enough, the second most vehement people I've run into are vegans, which makes no sense to me at all. But it's just the way it is. My father was much like yours, Marcy. I came to a point with my father where I had to realize that he also is human, and he was probably doing the best he could with what he knew, and I can live in the victimhood of it, or I can live in the I'm not creating that into the world. And my son hears me tell him I love him twice a day, morning and evening, and sometimes just for fun in the afternoon. So I laugh with my son, and I don't give I use this moment to give my son a very different experience from what I had. That's what makes me fearful. Nothing can make you fearful. I just want to say that out loud. Nothing can make you fearful except for you choosing to be fearful. Except for you choosing that. So nothing can make you do anything. You have free will. You have the experience in your life of creating whatever you want. It's a matter of where you're focused, and your focus is shown to you in the image of God. I am. I love that. Jesus wasn't Christian. Yep. Thank you. It's something that psychologically paralyzes my everyday actions. Okay, so that right there, Lucy, that's a great question, great comment, because that is a present moment belief. You have just said, I am paralyzed in my everyday actions. I am is God's name, once again. So really it comes down to, what are your present moment beliefs? And if you can find your present moment beliefs, you can break them. And that's the key. Just say, oh, I'm not doing that anymore. That's silly, and move on. Because once you start breaking them, you create new subconscious belief, and that past gets changed. And then you start, creating from a loving space rather than a fearful space. His teachings were damaging. Yeah, your father taught me some pretty horrible things. My father taught me some pretty horrible things too. And I was well on the way to becoming a racist and a homophobic and everything that he was, until I had an epiphany at 18 or 19 years old. What are your thoughts about psychedelics as a tool to help connect to the divine? I did a video on this, but I would love to talk about this here, because I keep bumping into people who are all into psychedelics. And I'm going to tell you just an interesting story. There's a story of Jim Carrey in a parking lot talking to Richard Pryor. And this is a true story according to Jim Carrey. They were out in the parking lot and they were just talking, and Jim Carrey pulled out a joint and they started smoking a joint. And Richard Pryor says, be careful with that. He says, why? And Richard Pryor said, I don't know whether I'm funny or the cocaine was. I don't know whether I'm funny or the cocaine was. First of all, you don't need any external to have the experiences. I've had more experiences than anybody I know. And I never have taken a psychedelic. I've never taken a drug. And though I drank in my 20s, I do not drink at all anymore, because I get a better high from what I'm doing now. There's no reason to do those things. The question with psychedelics is more about the idea of after you've had that experience, do you feel the need to have the psychedelics for that experience? Do you associate the psychedelics with that experience? Because you don't know whether it was the psychedelics or your connection to source. The cleaner you are, and the more you have those connections, the more experiences you'll have, the more you acknowledge that you'll have them, and then you'll have no doubt in your mind that you did it without any external substance. There is nothing in this physical plane that you need to connect to God except for your choice. And so just that is my take on psychedelics. I think a lot of people give up their power to psychedelics and give up their power to gurus and mantras and practices and dogma and ritual, and they give up their power. You are never separate from source. You are never separate from God. And if you just absolutely acknowledge it and recognize it and focus on it, then you will go into it and you will have all the experiences you'll ever want. Is that why you are fasting for 40 days? Nope. Not in any way, shape, or form. People ask me that all the time. Are you doing this for spiritual things? No. I do fasting, and I've been fasting off and on for years because it cleans out my body. It's like doing maintenance on my body. And COVID, of course, my weight went up, and I'm like, okay, let's do a 40-day fast and knock some weight off. I've knocked off 57 pounds so far, and that's great. I don't do any fasting for metaphysical woo-woo light show experiences. That is not why I do it. I do it just for health and for clarity and for losing some weight. My mind gets much clearer because your brain works better on ketones than on glucose. I think that people often ask me, well, what are the big serious spirit experience you've had under fasting? None. None. I'm just clear and very much more present, and because of that, I'm very much more aware. Do you just drink water? Not only do I just drink water, I drink distilled water because I don't want the minerals going through my body. I want to be clear. Nothing else. And I say that, nothing else. My body is eating up its fat stores. Why do I have fat stores? Because your body stores them for times of lean food. When things get bad, when things are rough, our body stores fat to use. And so my body is using my fat to live off of. One of my best moments in life was meditating with the nuns and fellows. The amount of love felt spread everywhere. It's a wonderful moment to remember that feeling. That's great. And what I love about that comment is you remember the feeling. It's the feeling that's the connection. That's the connection to source. And there are many, and in my Father's house, there are many mansions. There are many ways to that feeling. There are many ways to that source. And there's not one modality that's correct. And that's the issue that most religions have, is they believe that their way is correct. Wayne Dyer used to say, whatever follows you, I am follows you. Yep. You've lost an 8-year-old. For a second there, it scared me. I was like, where? When? Average weight of an 8-year-old is 57 pounds. There you go. I've lost an 8-year-old. And I feel like I've lost 8 years of wrinkles, too. My face is getting much thinner. My neck's still wiggly with all of its loose skin down here, but even that's getting drawn in, so it's kind of cool. What I do, I think, is far better than any psychedelics because for me, once again, there is no doubt, and there is no looking at psychedelics and saying, was it the psychedelics or was it a true spiritual experience? I think that not having that doubt is huge. I drink water with lemon in it, and that's great. And for those of you who believe in electrolytes, lemon is a natural electrolyte, so there you go. How's your diet going to look when you finish the fast? Well, I discovered, hello, Czech Republic. Wow. Nice. Good. Thank you for being here. When I go off the fast, I'm going to go off the fast the same way I came on the fast. I'm going to do at least a week of OMAD, 1 meal a day, no carbs for that week. I will slowly add carbs back in. I find that my personal body does not like grains. It doesn't like most vegetables. Can't stand the taste of them, and I don't feel good on them. There was a time in my life I spent 2 years as a vegan, and I was never sicker in my life. I was weak. I was cold. I was just never healthy. I never felt good. And when I brought meat back into my experience, I got strong as an ox, and I felt great. And so, Jane, if you go to my channel, there's a whole playlist on the fasting. This first week, I will be, after coming off the fast, I will be eating mainly scrambled eggs because they're complete protein and fat. Yeah, IBS and salads about coming. I'll tell you an interesting thing about salads is many years ago, I went on a diet called a natural hygienic diet. It's also, for those of you who remember Harvey Marilyn Diamond wrote a book called Fit for Life. And that was basically the natural hygienics in a nutshell. And on the natural hygienics diet, you eat nothing but high water content fruit before noon because your body's in the elimination cycle at that point, so you don't want to put anything that causes too much big digestion. And then at lunchtime, you have a salad and one item, either carbohydrate or protein or fat, but you never combine them. So, and actually your fats can be combined with either a carbohydrate or a protein, but you can't combine protein and carbohydrate. The reason they gave is because protein takes an acid to break it down, and carbohydrate takes alkaline to break it down, and your body makes both fluids, and when you eat them together, it throws acid and alkaline together, and it neutralizes the fluid, and then what happens is your food doesn't digest well, and after a certain amount of time, usually about 8 hours, systolic action forces that undigested food into your intestines, and then it goes through the process. So what the diet said was salad and one, either carbohydrate or protein, and then the same thing for dinner, salad. And what happened to me was I was eating so much salad that one morning I woke up, and I hope this doesn't gross anybody out. I woke up one morning and I passed almost a pint of blood out of my butt and went into the hospital, and they told me that I had, they did a colonoscopy, and they said that I had a polyp that had gotten ripped off the wall of my colon by the salad. The salad actually was scraping the insides of my intestines. So it was a really good thing that cleaned off the polyp, but it definitely will affect your scrape up the inside of your colon. Yeah, it was not a pleasant experience. But when I come off the fast, I'll do at least a week of the eggs, and then I will eat very low carbohydrate. Grains don't do well with me. I instantly start getting joint pain with grains. Vegetables, sort of the same thing. So I will be eating a lot of meat and eggs, and dairy makes me mucousy, so I have to limit that. There are certain times in my life that certain things in my life that I will not cut out. I will occasionally eat pizza, which has grain and cheese and all that stuff, because I am a pizzaholic after all. But well, Claire, I have no idea what you mean by so much for eating healthy. I have no idea what you mean by that. Shame I haven't learned to enjoy or even tolerate salad. Well, in my opinion, there's no need for salad, but that's just my opinion, and I wouldn't ask you to change what your beliefs are. Eating healthy, I find that I am healthiest when I eat meat and cheese and eggs and animal proteins. I find that it is the thing that makes me feel good physically. Yeah, and Sugar's mom, it is very interesting how arthritis is almost instantly cured by going either paleo or even carnivore diet. it literally takes all your joint pain away almost instantly within days. And vegetarianism made me gain a lot of weight too, and also made me lose a lot of muscle mass. I lost a lot of muscle mass as a vegetarian, and I was gone for my black belt, and I was a fight director. Um, oh, about the salad episode. Okay. um, yeah. So for me, it's all about what makes me feel good. And some people feel great on salad and vegetables. That's once again totally somebody else's choice. We all have to walk our own journey and find our own path. For me, I need meat, and when I don't eat meat, I feel ill, and I get ill. I get very ill. I when I was vegetarian, I had colds and stomach problems, and it was just a mess. Yeah, absolutely, Lucy. Absolutely. The key really comes down to though, not judging people on what works for them. One of the things that I find is that when I talk about Jeshua not being a vegetarian because he wasn't, um, I get attacked by vegans, not only vegans but Christians as well, and I'm like, but the Bible says he ate fish and he ate the Passover feast, which is lamb. So it's really interesting. Um, well, the interesting the ex-husband needed meat. He was a diabetic. So let's talk about diabetes. Diabetes is a spike of the insulin. Insulin is spiked by sugar. Sugar is spiked by carbohydrate. Carbohydrate comes from grains and vegetables and all of those things. So people have gone on carnivore, paleo, and keto and have reversed diabetes. And you can find the results of that online right now. Um, it's actually very interesting. People who've had type 2 diabetes no longer have any issues with diabetes. Type 1's might be a different animal, but people have reversed insulin resistance, they've reversed diabetes. Fascinating. Iceberg lettuce is a big no for IBS. Yes, Lucy, diet is very individualized. Um, my next door neighbors are on an all plant based diet and they feel great and they've lost weight. When I do it, I get ill. So it's just the way it is. So we each need to follow our own journey. The other thing is, if you really think about it from an anthropological level, when they did my blood and they checked out my ancestry, I am mainly England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and a touch of France, a little France, right? All of those cold climates. Wintertime, ate a lot of meat, right? So it's very much a much more meat-oriented environment. And winter, so you probably had lean times with food, so fasting was probably a normal thing. Um, so um, it's 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 an interesting animal. When you look at it scientifically, we also know that um, the grains, when anthropologists look at human bone, they know that prior to the agrarian societies of Egypt and that we had far less disease. We were far healthier. And when we became an agrarian society and started eating more and more grains, the body got weaker and sicker. And so they know that just from looking at it. They also know that cave art says that we've been eating meat for a lot longer than anybody was ever a vegetarian. So anyway, we're off on a diet topic this morning, which is good. Oh, Lucy, you know what? You don't have to do a full water fast. If you don't have to do don't have to do anything, but you might want to try intermittent fasting. Just skip a meal here and there. I think you might have some interesting effect. Oh, look at you, Skip Hart, 14. Um, Oh, first of all, not engineer. Happy birthday! He said, and are you worried about age? Are you worried about? I mean, what's to worry about a birthday? You know, Jeshua. People have asked me about his birthday. We didn't count birthdays, so we didn't think age in that point. Um, but why are you feeling weariness around a birthday? Why are you choosing to associate weariness with birthdays? Because that really is your belief. That is the choice that you have associated with it. People say to me, John, why don't you dye all that gray and that white in your beard? I'm like, because I earned every damn one of them, right? I'm proud of every gray hair. John, why don't you get hair plugs? Or because I'm proud of my bald head. I'm proud of my age. I'm 58 in May 26th, and I'm looking forward to being an old man and experiencing life, because it's just the next phase. You know, I'm not afraid of leaving here. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of any of that stuff. I'm really loving experiencing it. Bald is beautiful. You know what? This isn't a bald head. This is a solar panel for a love machine. Thank you very much. Yeah, you know what? And focusing on the coming year anxiously is focusing on a negative outcome. So let's all focus on living joyfully and sending positive intention to the year ahead to create that joyful experience. Yes. I can't help it, man. I was a comedian for many years. My mind goes to comedy wherever I can. 58 is the new 40, right? Well, it's interesting. I'm 58 in May, but I swear to you, I feel like I'm 25. In my mind, I am totally, you know, my kid comes over. He's 18 years old. We get out lightsabers and we lightsaber fight out in the yard. We crack whips. We do. We have so many fun experiences. Um, I had an out of body experience 10 years ago. It was so beautiful. It was my first one. Had no idea what happened. Freaked out a little bit. Would like to have another out of body experience, astral travel. How can I have another one? First of all, how'd you do it before? Number one, was it spontaneous? When you first have one, absolutely freaks you out. You're like, whoa, what was that? Right? When it first happened to me, that's exactly what happened. After I had my first one, then I got intentional on having them. And there's a video on my channel right now called "How Do I Have OBEs?" or OBEs. How do I do them? And so you can go there and you can see exactly how I do them. 70 is the new 50. I just turned 50 and feel great. There you go, Sugar's Mama. Ooh, astral traveling. I love astral traveling, and I've told the story before of going to my friend's house, and I think when I did all that astral travel work, to me the most important thing was the validation, coming back with information that validated that I was having it. To me, that gave me much more faith in it, and because I had more faith in it, I had more experiences. Well, see you later, Marcy. I'm about to check out too. It's already 10 after 1. We've gone long today. You guys, so I am going to let us go. But before I go, Sugar's Mama, I have been take the trying out of the sentence. I am having one. God's name is I am. Anyway, so guys, this has been lovely. It's been a wonderful, wonderful morning. Thank you for sharing this Monday afternoon, I guess, sharing this time. And we love you as well, Sugar's Mama. And okay, bunch of questions coming here at the end. We don't have time. I'm going to jump off. Go ahead and whatever questions you still have, put them in comments or send them to me at john@johnofnew.com. And I can make videos about them because I'm still looking for video topics. And thank you guys. It's been a lovely day. And I will talk to you next week. Thank you for joining us for the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to spread the love by liking, subscribing, and sharing.